Viewers, mass migration arrives in Centura, Spain. The most significant current event in Centura, Spain's North African enclave bordering Morocco. Spanish authorities report that 1,500 to 2,000 migrants have raided Centura over roughly a 10-day period. Local officials have described the situation as a disaster, a catastrophe. Police unions have stated they were overwhelmed, citing limited capacity to process arrivals. They've got no control whatsoever. You can see the scenes in this video. Reports also describe numerous migrant deaths at sea, with more than 25 bodies recovered after attempts to swim into the enclave. These people are desperate. They're not worried about whether they're legit or not. They're just raiding the coastline. This will happen in larger and greater numbers as the left wokists support all this. Public safety and policing concerns. Spanish police unions have raised concerns including insufficient personnel, obviously. Pressure on reception facilities. They don't care, but there is no use of reception facilities. Difficulty carrying out deportations. Calls for reforms to migration procedures and expanded readmission agreements with countries of origin and transit. These people have nearly drowned in this scene here. One of them at least, their feet would be getting cut to pieces. The developments have generated significant political debate. It's beyond political debate. Don't trust the politicians. He's cut his feet to pieces, this bloke. He's gone. He's finished. Stronger border enforcement, humanitarian assistance. But see, you've got the conflict of people wanting them to come in and people saying we need to stop it. Reforms to asylum and deportation procedures, increased cooperation with Morocco. The events have also been widely discussed across European political circles and social media. This is completely out of control. They don't care anymore. He made it. He made it. They're putting on a bit of a scene there. Look, this is crazy. They're just going, we're out of here. We're going to get to the Western world. We'll get the benefits and everything else that we can. I don't know, viewers. What they're doing in Australia, they're actually flying them in. They're not having to go through all this ordeal. They'll just fly you into Australia, whether you're an ISIS fighter or whatever your crimes are, that doesn't matter. Come in, we'll support you, we'll feed you and pay for you and all the rest of it. Very, very bad. Very, very horrible scenes. A lot of people drowned during this mass invasion. It's actually a justified invasion. There's nothing sensible about it. Here they come running. How'd you like these guys running up the streets to meet you? We've just come in. We're not legal. We don't care what you say. We don't care what you think. It's quite out of control. There it is there. That's an invasion. That's not migration. That's an invasion. And the politicians don't mind. Don't think they care. They don't care because if they get votes out of it, that's all that matters. At the end of the day for them, they don't care. There it is. You're seeing it with your own two eyes. Mass migration, unparalleled. Look, they don't care. We made it. We made it. All over the news. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Oh, well, good luck, Australia. This is where it's headed, one way or another. The sad part about Australia is they're just flying them in behind our backs. Mass political vote harvesting, it's called. Immigration saturation. When civil law stopped feeling absolute, When did people begin wondering whether the law applied equally to everyone or differently depending on who was involved? For generations, Australians largely assumed that one legal framework governed every citizen equally. Regardless of background, beliefs or culture, civil law represented the common agreement that allowed millions of strangers to live together with confidence. He's running before he gets caught, that bloke. The gradual change, rarely announced, instead ordinary Australians encountered growing public debates surrounding cultural accommodation, religious practices, competing legal expectations, exemptions and institutional reluctance to define where civil authority ultimately began and ended. Many struggled to distinguish between tolerance from uncertainty about legal consistency. The concern was not directed at any one community, but at the growing perception that government increasingly managed competing expectations instead of reinforcing one universal understood civic framework. As expectations accumulated, confidence slowly shifted and people became less certain that identical standards would always be applied in identical circumstances. Behaviourally, societies depend upon predictability. Citizens cooperate most willingly when they believe the same legal boundaries apply equally to everyone. When the confidence weakens, uncertainty replaces trust. Individuals begin interpreting fairness through identity rather than through shared law, making every public disagreement feel larger than the issue itself. Look at this, that's an invasion. That's a complete invasion. The consequence is seldom immediate. Instability. Instead, hesitation quietly enters everyday life. Institutions become increasingly cautious. Citizens become increasingly skeptical. And governments often spend more effort explaining decisions than strengthening confidence in the legal principles behind them. A stable nation does not require identical opinions. It requires widespread confidence that disagreements will always be resolved under one common civil authority. And when certainty about the authority begins to fade, social cohesion can gradually weaken long before formal institutions appear to change. They don't care. I'm telling you right now, the politicians do not care. They say they do, but they don't, as long as they keep their jobs. That's a mass invasion, viewers. Nothing less than a mass invasion. And in Australia, they're flying them in the same capacity.